She move her body like a shaman. All in my head, so much in common. Just say that word, baby, I'm on it. If this ain't love, then I don't want it. She move her body like a shaman.
Insecurity, he sends that within you. So if there's a radiation that you're going, if that's what you radiate into a male, he's gonna pick that up and he's gonna come after that. So stop radiating that shit. I radiate this being that's here, this being that knows her shit, this being that at the end of the day love her completely to the point that you can't step to her if you're not stepping right. Understand? So she became an energy of intimidation because she evolved and become who she is and love who she is and determined to stay that way. So within that fact, when male approach me, they approach me with respect because my energy earns that respect. They approach me as a queen. They do not ever go over that border because my energy says don't go over that border. Ain't even nothing to do because right now I'm smiling more. I'm still being the girl that I used to be. You know how you smile at the man, he assume, oh, let me go flirt with you. I smile at you and he put into his perspective, yo, this is a woman that just smiled because she is happy. This isn't a woman for me to think that I have an invitation to decide to flirt with her. Understand that your energy dictates your attraction in the world. I had to learn that from experience. And the thing that I've realized about people who go through this type of early abuse, they are the one that heals more because they don't victimize themselves anymore. We've got to learn not to take up the mantle of our first abuser. Drop that.
That's facts. I feel like you just said my life right there. Like, there you go. Because I think that's the part that was hard. Like, it's sad. It's like, it took this for me to figure this out. And that's when it's like, we're here, to help other people figure it out. Because yes, it did take a lot of trials and tribulations and pain. And like I tell people on my page, quiet the noise.
Yeah.
What you said is so important because it's like all these so-called voices, and this is tapping into mental illness.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, they got voices in your head, you got voices in your head, you got voices in your head. I had voices in my head, but again, I was mindful. I grew up in a very alert type of way. Like I said, I'm the only child. So I'm like, I know what not to say to try to get them to medicate.
Yeah.
But when I was being real with myself, I'm like, but I do hear voices in my head. But I know who voices they are. So that's the part that was like, okay, no, like return.
I ain't even me. Yeah.
That's not me. I never said these things. And again, this is the things that I wasn't able to tap into, like you said, until I became isolated within myself. I stopped answering my phone. I got a new phone number. I had to move out of my state. Like, so it's like I had to do all of these things to get myself and force myself into a safe place. Force myself to feel only me. And then I'm like, okay, that's not my voice. When it came, oh, you ain't shit. Excuse me. That's not my voice. Yes. Or a man not gonna want. That's not my voice. Like I had to realize like I wasn't born thinking these things of myself.
Yes.
So when I went back to I ain't even gonna hold you, girl. I started with who, what, when, where, why, how. I'm serious. That's literally how I started.
She went back to the beginning.
I had no choice. I didn't know what else to do. So I'm just like, you know what? Who did it? Why they do it? What they do? How they do it? Who was around?
How it affects me and shit.
And I ended up putting myself right back together after that, though. So it's like, I was able to keep it real. And then it's like, now you got this whole new evolution of like self-discovery, because it's like I don't know who I am because I've only allowed people's projections of who they thought I was based on what I told them about
honey,
myself.
That is a good one right there.
So it's like, no, now it's actually fun. Now I'm gonna figure out who I am. Now I'm gonna show you, and I don't care if you see it or not. Whereas before I felt unseen. Like I said, I ended up writing a whole book around my emotions and my expressions.
So you have a book online or something?
Yes, it's coming out. It's not finished yet. But it's coming out because I wanted to make sure that it was coming from the place that I wanted it to come.
Yes, I have mine as well too.
I had to get it all out of my system. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to sell nobody a book that was still
that you're not healed.
Vibrational.
Yes, girl, like, no. That's exactly with my book as well. Because I started my book last year too, and I'm like, yo, nah, I'm gonna take a break from it as well. So same thing. All right, I can't wait though to see
Me
it.
either. And I can't wait for yours. That's why I'm like, yeah. That's why I said it's called suffering with silence. And people are like, well, why did you say with silence? And it's always suffering in silence. And I said, no, because you're suffering with silence.
Yes,
Silence be sitting right next to you, and suffering be sitting right next to you.
Together as best friends.
Exactly. this is a joint union right here.
Yeah,
We are,
honey.
and that's I didn't want to separate. See, that's another thing I want to know how you feel about this. I got to a point of self-discovery and self-awareness and self-acceptance where I didn't no longer want to detach myself from my pain. In a way of like, I'ma hide it. I'm gonna try to dress it. I'm gonna try to sugarcoat. Oh, you're gonna get it straight, raw, dog,
it's
no
true.
chaser.
Simple.
This is my life.
This is, and I feel like a lot of people try to do is disconnect themselves from what happened to you. Nah, that shit happened to you. But when you're trying to find, oh, why they didn't like me, why they abused me, is you're going down the wrong line. What have you learned from it? How can you overcome this? How can you use this to be able to help a person who's been through? Because she and I are not the only person that been through this nonsense. And she and I are like the scale to what other women been through. People have been trafficked, people have been molested by a bunch of people. People have been gang raped, gaudy. Women have had acid thrown in the face and rape at the same time. People have been put into sex workers. Children have been married as child bride. This is what we're talking about at the end. And I'm not trying to downplay what she and I have been through. Understand? Our shit is difficult. Okay? By the end of the day, there are women out there that been through most. The girls in Africa. Hell, some things have them boobs chop off, By the end of the day, everyone
mutilated and stuff.
Everyone have their way of overcoming, but some people do not let it become them. Understand? You learn from this. You see how you can be able to help society with your story, help the next door neighbor with your story. It comes to the point where, because of what happened to me, and we are just like brushing the surface of this, as again, we're going to do a series, right? So we're going to go into in-depth things about them, like piece by piece during the series. But because of what happened to me, I was able to detect when another female or another girl was actually being sexually abused. Understand? And a few years ago, I noticed this girl was weird with this guy. And it happened to be somebody in our family. And I'm like, yo, that girl is being molested, though. And I told somebody, and they figured that shit out for her. You notice these things, right?
This is my question, because that is what made my life more difficult, right? Because I could see other people's pain when they could not see it. Like and people are like, you tripping, and I'm like, no, something is not right with that, because I see myself in that. Her. I see myself with her discomfort. I see myself with his discomfort. It's both, and people don't understand that either. Like, I can see you because I see myself. When you can't see yourself, you won't understand. You want to turn it. And unfortunately, my family even proves that, not to get into that, but to get into that, because it was so many secrets, so much, don't say nothing. You got so many people who were avoiding their own pain. And I got to a point where it was like, well, they was never going to see your pain. And even if they could see it, they don't want to see it, because again, for me to see it in you, I gotta accept why I resonate with it. And I can only resonate with, somebody that's uncomfortable, because I know what it feels like to be uncomfortable in that way. So it's like your emotions and that's what I do like about being a human. Because it's like, no matter what you go through, you can all kind of organize. You for one, you definitely bounce back. Like, no matter what you go through, you had the ability to bounce back. But I'm talking about in terms of like how, right? And because I think that's where people try to say, and that's why what you're saying is perfect and amazing, because it's so many different. And that was another reason why it was easier for me to like, let me try harder to overcome, because of what you just said. There are so many people who are being mutilated, and it get deeper, it get worse. So it's like, who am I to sit here and think that I can't overcome this?
I victimize myself.
Exactly. You got like, and then it's like, who will help those people? Like you already said, like
thank
us.
you.
We are the ones that have to help them, and we would even have the stomach to stomach these horror stories to help people get them out, or however you want to look at it. But what I was saying was like, at the end of the day, no matter what you went through, no matter what you're going through, because that landed me in domestic violence. I was in so many, like I said, I literally got like a gun pulled out, so it's like on me. So it's like, it's so many levels to it. But what I learned through it all was, when you connect what you're feeling inside to your emotions. That's what I like about being human. If that made you sad and it made me sad, we can relate to each other. If that hurt you and it hurt me, we can relate to each other. Because even though the pain isn't identical, the way that we understood it have a lot of similarities, whether people want to admit that or not. I have people who won't listen to me because they think that my trauma ain't nothing like theirs because of what I went through. They mean it in a way.
They're trying to find a connection, a relation, something
you're
common.
Disconnecting. That's what I'm saying. Here, they in America, they disconnect. People have literally turned their back on me because they felt as though my pain was worse than their pain. So they like, oh, you not talking to me, you talking to somebody else. I ain't never been raped before. I ain't never been this and that. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I say labels make you miss the message. Because when you're talking about healing the culture is hurting. It don't matter how you want to dress it up. We hurt. So if you want to sit there and say, oh, I'm not going to get no advice from a rape victim, that's to me personally, that's foolish. Because
that's you.
Before,
that's your ass pushing off your healing. Like you just stopping yourself from a healing process. Because you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to face reality that you are the one to this day that something happened 20 years ago. You still making it seem like, yo, it's happening today. People don't want to let go of that. Yeah.
And then I think a lot of people, the more you heal, the more you keep it real with yourself. And then you got people that want to avoid, honestly, the sexual traumas. They don't want to include them. They'll tell you about everything else but that. And that's where I think
we gotta get down and dirty with that.
It's no other way, because it's a lot of it. Look at the ages that we just said: 5, 6, 7, 11, 9. That's your inner child life right there.
Well, I understand. And with her, mine happened for 6 years straight. I lived with this person. This person was my father. Yo, come on now. Do you know what mental freaking undoing a being got to freaking do, dog? That's a lot of shit. Her shit. She personally know this person as well, and then went back and lived with this person. What are you talking about?
They kept sending me back. They knew what was happening, and they sent me back. Like I told. And that's another thing. You got people that say, "Oh well, you know." I think that's what my life was in particular, because I did all of the things that they say we don't do. I spoke up. I actually went to school and told my teachers at school. The cops got involved. The cops came to the school, and my family
shut it down.
Okay,
we gotta talk about that.
Then they said that she's 5. She gonna forget.
Honey, that is the worst thing you could possibly. Nah, shit like that. Women do not forget, or men don't forget. Children don't forget pain. But you could basically tell a little child, listen, I hate you, God, I only bring you in this world at 3 years old or 4 years old, and they can remember that shit at 16. Pain is a memory embedded in a person. That chemical energy, though. People remember pain. Understand? What do you think a mother could give birth, God, 10 or 5 years ago, and God, redo the delivery like it happened yesterday?
You ain't never lied about that.
Understand? So when your child goes through that, remember that shit was painful. It was a physical thing. Hell,
that's the trauma, and it's shocking. Yeah, that didn't happen before now, and then out of nowhere, it seems it just happened. And then when it continues to happen, it's even more traumatizing, because it's like, what is going on?
What is that? Listen to me. Before that happened to me, right? Yeah. I was the happiest little girl in the world. I went to school in my little Barbie bag. I watched my Power Rangers. My family treated me so freaking good. Moving with my parents, God, a few months later, or even a year later, I think, all hell break loose. Really? Come on. I had a great childhood from 1 to 6, and then shit messed up from there upwards.
Yeah. And honestly, Queen, I don't even remember ever being happy. Like my great grandmom died when I was 2, and then her best friend died when I was 5. So I had a lot of death before I even got molested and raped.
So you already got painful traumatized.
That's what I'm saying. And then honestly, no one at that moment, and this is stuff that I started to understand now, but in that trauma, like death is a trauma. My great grandma was raising me, and she just disappeared. And then, people that I was seeing growing up, they were disappearing. Death was so heavy in my family when I was younger. And then I mean, after that, it was like, is this my life? Like, even now, like, I feel like I'm just now getting a break. And I'm almost
Balance.
30.
Yes,
So
honey.
it's like, bruh, like, I look,
Girl. So you what, 28 and 29 now?
I'm 29. I'll be 30 in like less than a month.
Less than a month? Oh, because I'm gonna be 30
Less than a
next year,
month.
October. So it's like,
Oh, you got more
yo,
time than me. But it's so
it's
it's like, and that's why I
crazy.
kept saying, I'm like, it's bittersweet because it's like I feel like I have a much better ability to genuinely protect
Yes.
myself as an adult.
Mhm.
And like I said, it for me, I actually had to disconnect myself from my entire family because that's just how deeply. And see, again, I think that's where it went back. And that goes back into what we were talking about too with the being a family kind of counselor.
Yes.
I knew too much.
Girl,
I knew too much.
is a
So
privilege.
it's like a blessing and a curse, sis. Because it's like, damn, now I started to notice, like, okay, this didn't, maybe this didn't just happen to me. This just wasn't personal, is what I'm trying to say. Like, this was bigger than that, and that's the part that it's hard to even get from that to that because it's like. You do feel like it's all your fault. You do feel like, well, what was I doing?
Honey.
Maybe I was, go back to what you were saying. Was I too happy? Was
Girl.
I too jittery? Was I too... And you wanted to
that is
go
a topic
into it.
right there. Fault
Because
blaming.
what you just said with the
yes,
energy.
honey,
too.
girl, we gotta do this shit again.
Was my energy so good as a child that an adult felt like they wanted to destroy it? Like these are the things that are going to naturally come in your mind as you're aging, and then you, like you just said, with men, as we get older, we're attracting the same energy, and that's real talk.
Yeah,
I had to accept that myself. Like when I realized that the people that hurt me the most literally resemble all of my abusers.
Boom. Girl,
Y'all act the same, and now I had to check myself. Like, what am I? What energy am I giving out that they can almost smell me coming? Like,
girl,
you said it.
Let's talk about imprinting. Like when that shit happens to you, right? His energy imprints on your ass. You have firsthand thing of a male. So then you think maybe this is what it is that I think I need. This is what it is that I think a man is supposed to be. So some brokenness in you attracts that person's brokenness, and then he comes into your life. He may not have everything your attacker have, but he have two of them. And you're gonna potentially say, "Oh man, he just got two. I'm gonna go with the other stuff." This is where that potential bullshit coming into people like our minds. You know what I mean? We settle because we think we don't deserve any better. People make us think that we don't deserve. Girl,
we've been programmed to not think nothing about us is all right. If you look at society, that's why I was like, it's definitely a society thing, and then it's a domino effect. That's why I try to tell people healing is a domino effect.
Yes,
because it's all definitely connected. It's all definitely connected. Like I know, like my abuser in particular, he was raped as a child, and I think it was by his dad. So it's like that's why I'm like, it's sad. It's just sad. It's like, because then you got people that's like almost like, from what I've seen from a lot of the stories that I've heard, it's almost like people are envious when you continue to push past the BS that you went through. Yeah, it's like they get mad at you because they like, well, how are you pushing through getting raped and molested and this and that, but I can't get over this man. Yeah. Like get mad.
And how you could be so in love with another man because one man is who hurt you. Because one man is who hurt me. Not all of them is he. Understand? I'm not trying to bring his ass with me. I'm trying to leave his house behind there in love too. Understand? I deserve some loving as well. Like we also.
That's how we be. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna go ahead, like, girl. You but I think that's why I liked about the other podcast too, because y'all touch bases on it. Like, this is what you do, this and that and that. However, if it don't fit, it don't fit. We got to stop trying to force stuff to fit, and then wonder why. I'm not trying to be funny, but truthfully, like from my own experience, we'll lay down with this energy, and then get mad when this energy try to control us, try to force us to have sex, rape us, and you get raped and you in the domestic violence. That, like I said, me, I'm like, I knew why I was in a domestic violence situation, right? And it's like I saw it happening. Like you said, I seen them two things. Like, all right, maybe that's not that bad. And it's like, no, that shit is bad. Because you don't. That's another thing too. Is like, you know what your energy is and why your energy is the way it is. But then okay, like I know why my energy would attract this particular person, but I don't know what caused their energy to become what it is.
It's
And
the
that's what I
prey.
learned.
It's the
It's the,
prey in a.
but what makes them that way though?
Here's the
Because
thing.
they got their pain too. That
Exactly.
they won't heal from, and now it's
Honey,
like a trauma
let me
bond.
tell you, right? Because this is, listen, woman, we gotta do this again.
Oh yeah, for
Understand?
sure.
Because
I'm gonna be different next time. Had
that's
lighting
fine.
and everything.
Girl, listen, this is gonna hit some people, let me tell you right now. And not just that, I have written down so many underlining topic under this series that we are about to have that we're gonna hit. Understand? There are
Yes.
so many topics there, like imprinting, right? Finding fault in saying, blaming yourself for the sexual abuse, right? Understand that the self reflection on others that people are putting on you during this
Yeah.
course, like there's so many, and not just the two, like you people, I have I have understand my attacker. For years, I could not say that, hey, he was my father. I used to call him my sperm donor, B. This, he was a
Girl.
sperm donor. There is no way
I
you're
call
a
my
father.
baby daddy.
I
I call everybody sperm donor. If you ain't shit, you a sperm donor. I'm sorry. That's all you here to do.
Nah, I don't want to
It's
hurt
like, no, I'm
men.
playing.
I don't
I'm
want to
playing. I'm
hurt
playing. I'm
men.
playing. I'm playing.
I don't want to
I'm
hurt
playing.
men for
Yeah.
what he did. So he was my sperm
Right.
donor. He was nothing to me. But then over the years of me healing, I realized, like, yo, at the end of the day, he's your father. He's not
Right.
your daddy. He's your father. He gave you some sort of semblance of life. Understand? And then when I start to ask my family, right, like, yo, what was his upbringing? What was this? I realized that his mother has so much damage to him, right? That he ended up hating women, right? And the way that he treated my mother, the way that he treated the other females around him, and then the way that he treated me was fucked up. See, he was always because he never felt like a man. So he preyed on lesser and weaker being so he can feel like a man. Understand? And that shit was like, yo, it even had nothing to do with me. It had nothing. I was just another person in that category. At one point, I actually thought I should take that shit personal. I legit had a whole fit with one of my exes because I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like, seriously? You know what I mean? I heard like this thing he said to my sister, like, he would never do that to my sister. And I'm like, wait, what was then? Wait, am I not your child then? Is she that more important than me that you would say something else? I took that shit personal. But then when I got older, I'm like, yo, yeah, no, even 90 years. So it's like, I found out what triggered him. I forgive him because forgiving him means for me to forgive me for the blames that I take from that situation. I forgive him to let loose of the pain that I hindered. And not just that too. My pain does not have to be somebody else. I don't have to hurt other male and female because of what one person and my aunts and grandmother did to me. Blame them. Right? So I have to forgive the transgression, to hide it up, to never speak about it, right? And to never take them taking blame for allowing certain things to happen to me because they allow certain things to happen to me. So I stopped being angry at them. You know what I mean? I distance myself, I reheal myself, and then now I'm able to mend my relationship with them and go from there. You know what I mean? I let them, I talk to them, I let them know, like, yo, what you did then, you hurt the shit out of me. I let them know, like, yo, y'all could have protected me more. Y'all could have done things differently. Y'all could have helped me, talk to me about it. No one ever uttered a word about it like it never existed. And that is what we have in a Black family. And when I actually track that, I track that to slavery. When Master do this and Master do this to people that never talk. And then our ancestors take that into a mantle, right? And then they continue to do that. So when shit happen in the home, we don't let people see outside how weak we are. When we go outside, we are the perfect family inside the door.
What happens in this house stays in this house.
Boom!
That's the chapter. That's the first. That's how I literally open my book. Like,
girl,
that what happens in this house stays in this house, and that is the most toxic statement ever.
Honey, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. I'm telling you, this topic. That's why I waited so long to do it, because I'm like, this here need a healed female and a male who will be able to sit down and talk about a topic like this. from a healed perspective and be able to say, yeah, my vagina didn't feel like mine anymore. My body didn't feel like mine anymore. I was having sex with a person, but in my head, I was rolling my eyes because I felt disgusted. Like, this is what we need to talk about.
I felt disgusted with myself. And you ain't never lied. I didn't honestly even know what an orgasm was until I was in my 20s. And then when it happened, I'm like, so this whole time I was like having sex and I ain't like I was wasting it. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you? And that's when I started really just checking myself. Like, what were you doing? What are you doing?
Right.
Like, what are you doing? That's not it. It don't make you feel better about yourself. It made me feel worse.
Yeah.
It's like, because that's not what I wanted to do. But like you said, it's something that we almost feel like that's the only thing that we're good for.
Yes, honey. It is very true.
My body, you only see, what I can do for you sexually,
right?
And then we give you what you want, and then we still don't get nothing in return.
Nothing in return.
Even more worse than you did before you thought you had to have sex with the person.
It's true. And then you just feel shallow because at the end of the day, you think you're just a sexual object. And that, for me, society have made women look like they're just a sexual object. So then coming into reality from a sexual abuse point of view, you're seeing that, women are just sexual objects. And then you being molested or raped at a certain age, you think, you know what, whatever. I'm just another part of the sexual object society. So do what you want to do. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of unlearning for us women to really get certain things out. And I am so happy that we're having this conversation. I think it's really, really overdue, especially in the time that we are definitely healing. I think this is going to be such a refresher. For me, I was not afraid of talking about it. I don't ever be afraid of talking to my experts. I just don't. I know who to bless with it. So there are not a lot of people who know what happened to me. So a lot of people can be like, wait, what now? Wait, what now? Yeah, there are a lot of people that are going to be shocked, right? Because I don't exude a victim. I'm the happiest person ever. I'm not pretend happy. This girl be happy, right? So I don't exude.
I do this for real, okay?
This is me, right? So
I don't put the work in.
Thank you very much. Exactly. So I don't exude that. I bless it. I bless it to people who need it at that time. I let them know, I can relate. This is what happened. But I tell you what happened. I don't give you detail. And then I tell you, I know, I feel you, I see you. And I know how to help you.
You're not alone. Right. And we gotta stop rejecting that or looking at that as like offensive. It's something that people are offended by that. Like, and that was my hardest part because I had so many people around me. And I was doing just that. Like, I'm just here to let you know that I understand. Yes. But I felt like I got to a point where I was overly understanding, and then I just got like pushed to the side. And like I said, it's like, okay, we ain't hanging out with her. People would talk about me and things, and I'm just like, well, dang, you done told me your whole business, and I'm not sharing what you shared to me. Yes, so it's like, that's when I had to really just outside of just men, aside of just the energy that I was attracting with men, I had to keep it real about the energy that I was attracting with women too. Girl, like, I'm actually attracting women who don't really fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like, a women who really don't really like, we not really cool. They acting like we keep cool, but they dog me out the most because they know all my business. So it was like, wow, that's why I think it's so hard for people to talk about these things because you don't know who to go to and talk to about it. You think that you can go to people that you've been there for, but they the first ones that judge you.
Exactly.
They the first one that's gonna call you a hoe, and they probably got more bodies than you got.
The wild thing. For me, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing my sisterhood series, right? Like, this topic here is a lot of branch off of different things on my channel. Like, seriously, this here is behind most of everything that I talk about. Mothers, family, unlearning, relearning, sisterhood, fake masculinity, relationship, everything. Because for me, over the years of passing through the past year, I realized, I've been going through a whirlwind of broken, toxic shit. Right now, we need to change that shit. So this is what my channel is about. Is healing the culture from a sexual perspective, healing a culture from a mental perspective, a parenting perspective, food perspective, how everything comes back into play, how you exude your reality depending on what happened to you. You know what I mean? So how self-loving, coming back from being sexually abused and learning to self-love yourself is such an immense part of growth that you don't even know, right? Like all of those things connect everywhere you go. It connects to everything. And for me, when a guy meets a woman that has been through sexual violence, they don't know how to deal with her. She is so broken inside, she don't even know how to deal with herself. So she can't even teach you how to do it. I feel like men who you have a woman that's broken. Most of our black female are broken. Most of our black female are sexually abused and can't talk about it. So you don't know who and what female you're meeting. I feel like we know that this is like a common thing, and it's so sad to say that sexual abuse is such a common thing in our society. That as a male, as a mature male, I think that you should take it upon yourself to learn how to teach your female. You don't know if she might be that one that might be sexually abused. Teach your female what feeling again is. How to say that if he kissed me, I don't compare his kiss to my sexual abuser kiss. I don't compare this position to my sexual abuse. And you know, women can't have sex in missionary and doggy style or whatever because it reminds them of what their abuse did.
It go even oral sex. You got oral sex too that people can't engage in that, and it's because they do. See, I think that's like I said, when we dive into it and get into like what they actually do to us, people think like I think they don't even they get so discouraged by the idea of
they
us
don't
being
want to
molested
hear
or
it.
raped that they and then they never think like I actually had a person tell me they couldn't hear anymore because it was too much for them, and I never remember thinking to myself, well, like how do you think I feel? Like you can't. But seriously,
talking about
it's
it,
like if
going through it.
Everybody don't want to hear it. It's like, when do you heal? And that's why I just I dug back into myself because it's like, but I know y'all don't want to hear it. But like, yeah,
it has to be said.
I think
it has to be said.
It needs to be said. Honestly, I think a lot of the reasons that the men, and this is, I want to know what you think about this. I think a lot of the reasons that the men have an issue with
facing that reality.
I guess not being. Yeah, from like this whole alpha male thing. Like I've been looking into this alpha male thing for a minute, and I'm not saying every alpha male is has been molested or raped. However, a lot of men that I have talked to that have this big issue with women like us, you know, women that it goes on and on with independence, you know, that's all kind of a lot of independent women were molested and raped. That's why they feel that. Right, so let's talk about it.
And that is one of the reasons why they are independent.
The masculine, you have no choice but to take on that masculine energy.
Honey,
you have no choice. You're so right.
You are correct. You are correct.
I think it goes back into the fact that they too, like I said, particularly the alpha males, they too.
Hey you, yes you. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope that you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for coming to my page. So I would like for you to subscribe, and I also want you to watch the last video, and I hope that you enjoy